Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So now we have the official name for the Amazon Lord of the Rings show, the title, and it is now called The Rings of Power. We know that this is going to be during the Second Age, but what I'll show you in this one is that they could be pushing up against the Third Age, which covers what happens in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Now technically, they're not supposed to be able to touch anything that happened in the Lord of the Rings books, but that doesn't mean they can't do anything from the Lord of the Rings movies, because if you remember back in Fellowship of the Ring, the intro to Fellowship of the Ring is talking about the creation of the Rings of Power. Then you also get the end of the Second Age with the defeat of Sauron, that last alliance where Isildur ends up cutting off the ring from the hand of Sauron, and that then ends the Second Age. So we're going to take a look at the reveal trailer, and then we're also going to take a look at some other things that I found that are going to be interesting to see how they actually do this. So let's take a look. Alright, so there is the reveal trailer. The thing I did like is the way they say Mordor. Also, this is the beginning of the Lord of the Rings book. So the Fellowship of the Ring, this is the beginning of the Lord of the Rings. Because if you read the intro to Lord of the Rings, it states exactly that. But they left out the last part where it's one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them. So that part in the movie, The Fellowship of the Ring. They did use the words straight from the book, unlike the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, the movie, which was an amazing intro as well though, in its own right. But they did use that line in The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, when they went to Dol Guldur and they discovered that Sauron was actually there with the Ringwraiths. So they did use that line in the movies as well. But starting off with that, I mean, okay. But the Rings of Power. So is this going to be the name of the show for however many seasons they have it? Like, I don't know, 5, 6 seasons? Or is this going to be the first season or first couple of seasons? Because the Rings of Power covers when Sauron or Anatar deceived the men, the dwarves and the elves when he gave them the rings. We also saw that it's not just going to cover the Second Age, because we saw this image a while back. So this image was released August 3rd, and it looks like it's the two trees of Valinor, which was set well before the First Age. This is ancient times. So I don't know if they're going to set the scene something from thousands and thousands of years ago, like the very early stages of the Silmarillion. Like, I don't know why they'll put that, and then they say that the Rings of Power, because that has nothing to do with that yet. So it's very interesting they do that. But this also said on September 2nd, 2022. So they released the release date back in August last year, 2021. So it's not like we didn't know that was coming out in September. I did also see that on the OneRing.net, who our favorite people, who they got the amount of rings wrong. They said it was 19 rings, it's actually 20. They said, seems like Anatar has been busy. Maybe Celebrimbor will learn something from him. And though this hews closely to a certain section title in the Silmarillion, we are headed into the Second Age for sure. Now, why would they need to clarify that? Is it because one of the chapters at the very end of the Silmarillion is of the Rings of Power and the Third Age? So that's why they need to clarify it, because even though it's pushing up right against the Third Age and stuff they're covering in Lord of the Rings, they wouldn't want to step on the toes of stuff they're not supposed to. But in this, they can definitely cover a fair amount, because it does go over in this chapter where Sauron was known to the Maya as a different name, and how he deceived them into taking the rings. And then also about how the elves didn't trust him and they took the rings off and they hid them. And then talking about the Rings of Power in the Third Age, this chapter also goes into the Last Alliance, when Gil-galad and Elendil passed into Mordor, and then they laid siege for 7 years, which is the Last Alliance. And then when Sauron was defeated, which is the prologue of the Fellowship of the Ring movie. Because that occurred in the Second Age, they can definitely use that. And then it also covers, in this chapter, the appendices part that they took from Silmarillion and other things, where they used it in the Hobbit movies, especially in Battle of the Five Armies, when Gandalf went to Dol Guldur and discovered that Sauron was still there. And it details that right here, Sorcerer of Dol Guldur, when they went to Mirkwood, which is what happened in the Hobbit movie. It's like they're pushing right up against what they can and can't use with the Third Age and anything that's coming in Lord of the Rings. It's like they're pushing right up to it, but who knows where they're actually going to take it. Because we do know that they'll be using their own Amazon original character, which is going to be Isildur's sister. Who knows how that's going to work, but they're doing it. So they're kind of pushing up against what they can and can't use, and what they're going to make in their own. And how's it going to play out? We're going to have to wait and see. And Fellowship of Fans has this right here detailing how this is going to go, how they think it's going to go. So They're detailing some characters, and then Isildur's friends join the army. I think they're going to play on a bit of nostalgia, or like trying to call back to the movies and the way things happen. And then you have Jeff Bezos, there you go, head of Amazon. I just don't know if it's going to be the first season, that's what they're going to call it, or if they're going to title every single season The Rings of Power. Like, how much can you get out of The Rings of Power? And how much are you going to extend or create your own story within this, with their own characters, like original characters? And how much are you going to actually change from the original? I know Nerdrotic said that this kind of looks like one of those mobile game intros, because it's not really much on it. There's a couple cool things, but it seems pretty small scale. And then you got people saying it's just a reveal, but like, look at that. It looks like it's pretty small scale, even though they're trying to make it look large scale. But we do have the OneRing.net behind the scenes images of how this was made. So obviously the OneRing.net, like, they know their lore because 19 rings and all that. Yeah, good on ya. But they get all these behind the scenes access. They were using an actual forger and then pouring some molten material into that. That's what it's going to be, guys. We don't know how they're going to use this. We know there's a younger Isildur. There's going to be a sister. They can kind of push up against the bounds of what they can and can't use, with the Silmarillion having a chapter dedicated to Of the Rings of Power, which is now the title of the series, The Rings of Power. But it also says, and the Third Age, which is kind of getting into Lord of the Rings territory, which they can't technically touch from the book. They can't alter any key details and timelines of Tolkien's work, but they can do their own things that were never kind of fully explained or fully fleshed out. So they're taking it within their liberties to create original characters and, I guess, go in their own ways. But hopefully they will stay within the timeline that they're supposed to and respect the lore. So leave a comment, let me know what you think of this. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share this video out there, and I'll see you in the next one.